Some people that I shared my presentation with were interested to learn more about Bitcoin and hear from me again. So I've prepared a follow-up presentation, and this one's a lot more surface level than the previous one. This is basically for people that are wanting to get into Bitcoin, but they don't really know where to start. And so I just say, now what? And I'm going to start with a section on the mindset that you should have when approaching Bitcoin. So first off, I just say don't let your ego get in the way. And I got this from Jack Mallers, who says that it's not actually an IQ test. Bitcoin is an ego test. People in the past have said, oh, if you're smart, you'll buy Bitcoin. But, I don't really look at it like that. I tend to side with Jack here, who says that it's really an ego test. Because if you decide not to get into Bitcoin because you think that you're late, for example, like what you're really doing is you're comparing yourself to others, and you're comparing their performance to your own behavior. So you're saying like, oh, they bought 100 Bitcoin 10 years ago, of course they're doing well. That can't happen to me. Well, again, you're just comparing yourself, and it's really just a failure of your ego. The second thing I would say about your mindset is that you should be trying to live within your means. And in hand with that, I say convert your spare capital to Bitcoin. So if you're spending more than you earn, that's a problem. That's a spending problem. That's a behavioral issue that you need to work on. And if you're not already converting all of your extra dollars into Bitcoin, that's what I would recommend. Once you get into Bitcoin, you realize like, wow, I should have been doing this 5 years ago. And there's always going to be some level of not regret, but just kind of realization that like you were stupid in the past. Just start now. Start stacking sats now. Keep calm and stack sats. That's what people say. You just gotta filter out the noise and convert your dollars into Bitcoin. Lower your time preference. This is talked a lot about in The Bitcoin Standard by Saifedean Ammous. If you haven't read that book, highly recommend it. That's a really good introduction to Bitcoin. My presentation was largely structured around that book. But lowering your time preference just basically means have a longer time horizon for your investment. It means delaying your gratification. So, our society today is largely built around, instant gratification. So we're bored. What do? Within 5 seconds, we're pulling out our phones. We're going on social media, right? Instantly gratified. We take a picture. We instantly look at it to see how we look in the picture. Oh, we got to retake it, right? So lowering your time preference just means, buy now and hold. Plan on holding, right? Into the future, 5, 10, 15, 20 years. The best investors on earth do nothing for 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. Those are the big payouts. Don't say the C word. Feels kind of funny to say that, but what I'm talking about is the word crypto. There's Bitcoin and then there's crypto. Don't conflate the two. Bitcoin is its own thing, and crypto is everything else, right? There's, thousands, maybe even millions of coins, and they're all distractions, and none of them are worth any of your time and consideration because Bitcoin is special. It's in a league of its own. It follows its own rules. What can be said about Bitcoin can't be said about other cryptocurrencies. So, the fact that it's a hard cap supply at 21 million, that's not the truth for Ethereum. Ethereum has an unlimited, theoretical supply. So the same rule sets don't apply to other coins. So, don't conflate the two. Crypto, Bitcoin, no, it's not crypto. Bitcoin. Focus on Bitcoin. And just keep learning. Honestly, the more you learn, the more you're going to want to put your life savings into Bitcoin. Because the deeper you dig, the more you realize like how perfect it truly is. And it's perfect by design. It was intentionally engineered with these properties in mind. It's no accident. And so just keep learning, because you're going to benefit from it ultimately. It's for your own good. No one can do this for you, right? Like, oh, I could lead a horse to water, but I can't make it drink, right? You gotta you gotta take it upon yourself to just keep learning and keep digging into aspects of Bitcoin that you've never heard about or you've never learned about. Just stay curious. And so moving forward with best practices, number one is to set up a hardware wallet. And so I have one right here. And just make sure that you buy your wallet from the manufacturer directly. Never buy something like this from Amazon or from eBay or Temu or whatever, insert random website here. You need to buy these directly from the manufacturer to ensure that no one has tampered with it. And, this is sealed in plastic, and it has, like a seal on the edge as well. And so I know that this hasn't been tampered with because it's sealed and I bought it directly from the manufacturer. But setting up a hardware wallet is the only way to take like true ownership of your Bitcoin. And so with that, you have to be really careful. And so I say here, be extremely intentional with your security. So the wallet holds your Bitcoin, right? It's like your bank account in the digital Bitcoin world. But there is a way to recover your Bitcoin. And so when you set up these wallets, it'll have you write down 12 to 24, or 12 or 24 words, I should say. And with those words, you can recover your Bitcoin. So let's say that this wallet took a bath and no longer works. As long as I have those words on hand, I can buy a new wallet, put in those words, and boom, I have the same wallet, right? So the Bitcoin isn't stored on this, fancy USB looking thing, right? The Bitcoin isn't stored on the device. This is like your debit card, basically. Think of it like that. So, if you took a pair of scissors and you cut your debit card in half, your money didn't just go poof and disappear, right? It's in your bank account. Your debit card is just your interface to be able to spend your money. It's basically your interface to your bank account. Think of it like that. So your wallet address on chain is what actually verifies that you have the Bitcoin, right? This is just your debit card. So I also have here some metal punches, and I use these to stamp my seed phrase into metal washers. So, like I said initially, when you set up a wallet, you're going to be writing these words down on paper. Well, what if you have a flood? What if your dog eats the piece of paper? I know my family's dog likes to eat paper often. That is a huge risk. What if you had a house fire? Heaven forbid, your wallet and your seed phrase both go up in flames. Well, then you lost access to your Bitcoin. So you got to, basically take matters in your own hands and make sure that you're storing your seed phrase securely. And for newcomers into the space, it's really important to know that you never want to digitize your seed phrase in any way, shape, or form. So once you write these words on a piece of paper, do not take a picture of it with your phone. Do not type in your seed phrase into your computer in a Word document. Don't put it in your contacts in your phone. Don't do anything like that, because as we know, nothing is 100% in this world. What if your picture got uploaded to the Google Cloud and then Google got hacked? What if you got a virus on your PC and the attacker found your text file that was just storing your seed phrase in plain text? You want to make sure that you never, ever, ever put it in digital form. And once you've gone through these steps, once you've gotten a wallet and you've been extremely intentional with your security, you want to get your Bitcoin off the exchanges. So let's say you have a Coinbase account and you buy the Bitcoin and you're just leaving it right on Coinbase. I equate that to going to the grocery store, buying your groceries, and then just leaving them at the store, like on the sidewalk. I mean, would it really be that surprising if someone came by and took those bags home with them? And this has happened in the past. Exchanges have been hacked. Just look up Mt. Gox. Customer funds were stolen permanently. And many years later, finally, customers got a portion of their Bitcoin back. I mean, you don't want that to happen to you. So, you don't want to trust that an exchange is going to stay secure and not get hacked, you need to get your Bitcoin off the exchange and into your own custody to truly own it and to be able to sleep at night ultimately. And HODL is a term in Bitcoin that many people coming into the space might not be familiar with. And it actually stems from a typo on a forum many, many years ago, very early on into Bitcoin. But it's now kind of seen as an acronym for hold on for dear life. And so people say like, oh, I'm HODLing. It just means I'm never selling, no matter what. And getting into Bitcoin is a bit of a paradigm shift. And, you know, in a paradigm shift, it's like you fight it at first, and you're trying to understand this new way of thinking or this new technology in this case. But once you cross over, you never go back. It's impossible for me to want dollars instead of Bitcoin at this point. Like, why would I sell my Bitcoin to buy dollars? Why would I ever buy dollars if they're going down in value forever and Bitcoin's going up in value forever? It just doesn't make sense. So just HODL no matter what. No matter how scared you get, no matter what news headline you see, no matter what your favorite person on TV says, right? You just HODL. You do not sell your Bitcoin. That's like basically rule number 1 of Bitcoin is you do not sell. And I say the KISS method, keep it simple, stupid method, meaning don't try to be all fancy, you know, trading Bitcoin, saying like, oh, I'm going to buy here and sell in a week and I'm going to make a profit. And then I'm going to, you know, wait another week and then buy back in, hold it for a month and then sell. Like, trading Bitcoin like that is going to inevitably lead to you holding less Bitcoin in the future. You're going to look back after 5 years, you're going to look back at that activity and say to yourself like, holy cow, if I had just bought Bitcoin and held on to it, I would have been way better off for it. I'm so stupid, I should have done that. Just keep it simple. Just buy Bitcoin. And just hang on to it. It's really the only way to go. And so that's all I have for you today. Leave me comments down below, questions. I'll do some more follow-up videos if people have more questions. I don't know how regularly I'll do this, but if there's enough interest, I'll keep doing it. Thanks.